Today we're journeying deep into the past, way before recorded history, to uncover some truly mind-blowing secrets about our earliest ancestors. Forget the grunting, club-wielding caveman stereotype you see in cartoons. The reality of early human life is far more complex, intelligent, and frankly, more fascinating than you could ever imagine. So grab your imaginary time machine, get comfortable, and let's dive into the surprising facts about early humans you never knew. First up, let's talk about their health. We often picture our ancestors as constantly battling diseases and injuries with no modern medicine. While life was certainly tough, studies of ancient bones reveal something astonishing. Early hunter-gatherers were often healthier than the first farmers who came after them. Their diet was incredibly varied and nutritious, packed with lean meats, fish, fruits, nuts, and vegetables. This paleo diet wasn't a fad. It was a way of life that kept them strong. Plus, their active lifestyle, constantly on the move, was like a built-in gym membership. They didn't suffer from the chronic diseases linked to sedentary lifestyles and carbohydrate-heavy diets that plague us today, like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. Of course, a broken bone or a serious infection could be a death sentence, but in terms of general day-to-day fitness, they were in peak condition. Now, what about their artistic side? You've probably seen pictures of the stunning cave paintings in Lascaux, France, or Altamira, Spain. These weren't just simple doodles. These were masterpieces created tens of thousands of years ago in the deep, dark, and often dangerous parts of caves. Think about it. They worked by the flickering light of animal fat lamps, using pigments made from ground-up minerals and charcoal. These paintings of bison, horses, and mammoths are so detailed and lifelike. Why did they do it? Scholars believe it could have been part of shamanistic rituals, a way to tell stories, or even a prehistoric classroom to teach young hunters about the animals they would face. It shows a level of abstract thought, creativity, and spiritual depth that is truly profound. They weren't just surviving, they were creating culture, and it wasn't just paintings. Early humans were skilled craftspeople. They created intricate jewelry from shells, teeth, and ivory beads. In one famous burial site in Russia, 2 children were found buried with thousands of painstakingly carved mammoth ivory beads, which archaeologists estimate would have taken thousands of hours to produce. This wasn't just for decoration. It was a form of communication, signaling identity, status, and belonging to a group. They also created musical instruments. Flutes made from bird bones and mammoth ivory have been discovered that are over 40,000 years old. Can you imagine sitting around a campfire, listening to melodies played on a flute that was carved by hand from the bone of a giant vulture? It's a beautiful thought that connects us to them through the universal language of music. Let's debunk another myth, the idea of the lone caveman. Early humans were intensely social creatures. Survival depended on cooperation. They lived in small, tight-knit groups, likely composed of extended family. Hunting a giant woolly mammoth was not a one-person job. It required teamwork, strategy, and clear communication. These social bonds were everything. They cared for each other, shared food, and protected one another from predators. Fossil evidence even shows that individuals with severe injuries or disabilities were cared for by their group for years. There's a famous Neanderthal skeleton known as the Old Man of Shanidar, who lived to a ripe old age despite having a crushed eye socket, a withered arm, and other debilitating injuries. He could not have survived alone. This tells us that empathy and compassion are not modern inventions. They are ancient human traits that helped us thrive. Speaking of Neanderthals, let's clear up their bad reputation. For a long time, they were portrayed as our dim-witted, brutish cousins. That couldn't be further from the truth. Neanderthals were incredibly intelligent and adaptable. They had brains that were, on average, even slightly larger than ours. They were expert tool makers, skilled hunters who could take down huge animals, and they controlled fire. They also had a sense of symbolism and ritual. We've found evidence that they deliberately buried their dead, sometimes with offerings like flowers or animal horns. This suggests they had some concept of an afterlife or, at the very least, a deep respect for their departed loved ones. They weren't a failed experiment. They were a successful human species that survived in the harsh conditions of Ice Age Europe for hundreds of thousands of years. And here's a kicker. If you have any ancestry from outside of Africa, you likely have a little bit of Neanderthal in you. Genetic studies have shown that early Homo sapiens, after migrating out of Africa, met and interbred with Neanderthals. On average, modern humans of European and Asian descent have about 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA in their genomes. So in a very real way, they never completely disappeared. A small part of them lives on in us today. It's a powerful reminder that the human story is not a simple, linear path, but a complex, branching river with many streams flowing into one another. Now, how about their long-distance travel skills? Early humans were the original world explorers. They didn't just wander aimlessly. They undertook epic migrations across continents. Homo sapiens spread out of Africa and, within just a few tens of thousands of years, populated almost every corner of the globe, from the icy plains of Siberia to the remote islands of the Pacific. How did they navigate without GPS or even a compass? They were master observers of the natural world. They likely used the sun, the stars, prevailing winds, ocean currents, and the migratory patterns of animals to guide their way. They even managed to cross vast stretches of open water. Reaching Australia, for instance, required a sea voyage of over 60 miles, a feat they accomplished at least 65,000 years ago. This wasn't an accident. It was a planned expedition requiring sophisticated boat-building technology and navigational skills. Finally, let's touch on their language. Obviously, we have no recordings of what early humans sounded like. But the idea that they just communicated in grunts is completely wrong. To coordinate a complex hunt, to teach a child how to knap flint, to pass down stories, to plan a migration, all of this requires language. While we don't know exactly what their languages were like, the physical evidence suggests they were capable of complex speech. The shape of the hyoid bone, a small U-shaped bone in the neck that supports the tongue, is crucial for speech. The hyoid bones of our ancestors, including Neanderthals, are virtually identical to our own. Furthermore, the complexity of their tools and social structure strongly implies that they had a sophisticated form of communication long before writing was ever invented. So the next time you think about cavemen, remember the real picture: intelligent and resilient explorers, talented artists and musicians, compassionate community members, and skilled innovators who laid the foundation for everything that has come since. Our ancient ancestors were not primitive brutes. They were pioneers. They faced challenges we can barely comprehend, and not only survived but thrived, spreading across the planet and leaving behind a legacy that is literally written in our DNA. Their story is our story. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. I hope you found these facts as amazing as I do. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. What fact surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.